MTG Scoundrels. It's in the cardboard.
Ladies and gentlemen, scoundrels of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Modern Weekly. Today on the docket, we have Eldrazi Ramp versus Domain Rhinos, a matchup of pre-game actions. Speaking of which, Double Devourer of Destiny and Leyline of the Guild Pact being revealed. Eldrazi Ramp will have 8 looks. At the top, I'll have 2 looks of 4 cards, which really counts to 8. Exiling 3, putting 1 on top, looking at the next 4. Probably going to keep that same card on top, would be my guess. Only bummer is losing out on 6 cards, which all could be relevant. 6 cards exiled, the card you want on top in passing. Force for play there. Misty Rainforest and pass. There's Eldrazi Temple into a Talisman of Impulse. And there is a Leyline Binding to take that Talisman. A lot of these domain lists will hit those talismans early. Scion of Draco on turn 2. That is what the domain lists generally want to do. Apologies for the screen shake there. Another Eldrazi Temple. Into a Sowing Mycospawn. That early Leyline Binding taking away the kicked version of Sowing Mycospawn here, which generally is pretty pivotal. Probably finding another temple to get up to 7 mana. There it is. A little less afraid to go after it in Game 1. Game 2 tends to be where you have to start thinking about Obsidian Charmaw. And passing the turn here. There is an Arid Mesa. Into a Shardless Agent. Ladies and gents, we have the return of Domain Rhinos. Turns out 2 4/4s are still great. Yep, there's the Crashing Footfalls. 2 Rhinos with Trample, still very strong. So we have 16 power on the board for the Domain Rhinos player. 2 Rhino tokens, Scion of Draco, and Shardless Agent, all with Hexproof and Lifelink. In fact, it is Vigilance, Lifelink, Hexproof, First Strike, and Trample, thanks to that Leyline of the Guild Pact. Digging those Rhino tokens out here. Still 7 mana available for the Eldrazi Ramp player. So plenty of things can still be done. There's a Devourer of Destiny. That's going to exile the Leyline of the Guild Pact, just to make stuff targetable. And have 9 power on the board. and force the Domain Rhinos player to actually fetch to cast some spells. There's a Rafine's Tower. That'll bring us to 23 to 16. Taking 3 off of the Arid Mesa crack here. And probably the shock of a Shockland. There's the Temple Garden, the missing colors. Actually, that might not be Rafine's Tower. Either way. Yep, not Rafine's Tower. That is the Grixis one. But there's a Leyline Binding. That's going to take the Devourer of Destiny. As we can all say, there's a little bit too many arts of different cards at this point. Sowing Mycospawn, getting in to block the Shardless Agent that's attacking. Taking 12 from the 2 Rhinos and the Scion of Draco. And passing, there's the untap and draw. Alright, there's a Sire 7 Deaths. There's a crack on end step. Of course, Sire 7 Deaths coming from the recent set Foundations. When you look at it, it really feels like it was just a card that couldn't fit into Modern Horizons 3. 7/7 with 7 keyword abilities for 7 mana. Surveilling a Leyline of the Guild Pact away here. And there is an ice. Tap target permanent. And that'll do it. Game 1 going to Domain Rhinos. After the tap down of the Sire 7 Deaths. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. So far, this modern format has really been a hodgepodge of new ideas and old ideas. As you can see with the return of a deck like Domain Rhinos. Which, if you paid attention to some of the cards flipped over, gets to still play cards like Flage from Modern Horizons 3. It also has the answers from the domain list in general when it comes to Leyline Binding. And it's picking up the mashed up version of what it was before Violent Outburst was banned. Fire Ice, of course, being one of those cards that gets to really utilize, since you can't cascade into it. And being that you're playing 5 colors, you can still have access to the Force of Negations, which is an answer that is above 2 mana, so it won't get cascaded into. What you won't see is Stern Scolding, you won't see Consign to Memory. You'll definitely see some Obsidian Charmaz coming in out of the board in this matchup, though. And luckily you just don't have the speed that you used to have with Violent Outburst, but the deck is still very powerful. Eldrazi Ramp probably bringing in a little bit more removal, or just things to make life a little bit more costly for them. Trinispheres of the world. If you land a Trinisphere after hitting him with Sowing Mycospawns, etc., it does make life a little bit harder for them. They're already a little light on mana. Granted, if they already have Leyline of the Guild Pact out, it matters a little bit less, but that is why you probably want to be looking for World Breaker. In terms of the format, we got a lot of different decks at the top. We still have energy up there, as we say every week, but at least you can battle them now. They don't quite have the ability to refill like they used to and rebuild. The Eldrazi Ramp decks have a few different builds, but a lot of the Null Drifter lists are starting to see play. Now, of course, Grinding Breach has become the Faithless Looting deck of choice. And of course, Broodscale combo is becoming the best Mox Opal deck in the format, though you can also play it without Mox Opal. Opal just gives you more explosive starts. as we've seen even on last week's video. Ruby Storm still having a good showing in the format. Amulet Titan still up there, even with losing the one ring, now adding Green Sun Zenith. Now to awkwardly transition to our sponsors, check out our friends Grove Warden Games, sponsor this channel, host of our channel. Check out the link below, goes to their store, and they also have a link to their TCG player as well. Grove Warden Games, wonderful place to storm out. And also check out our friends over at Arcane Artistry. Make wonderful food, clue, and treasure tokens in a stained glass style, all made out of acrylic. Check out the link below for their Etsy link. And if you're looking to pick up some customized art, definitely check out our friend Chandrar. They're open to new projects, and their email is in the description as well. And thank you guys for tuning into our videos. We appreciate it. Wouldn't be here without you. Definitely let us know what decks you would like to see in the comments below as we move forward in this new format. Getting close to starting up game 2 here. And here we are, Domain Rhinos going to 6. There is a pregame action of Leyline of the Guild Pact. There is a Forest into Ancient Stirrings. Looking at the top 5. Choosing a colorless card and revealing it and putting it into your hand. Finding an Eldrazi Temple. Surveil land. Putting a Scion of Draco into the bin. If that is ever a sign of having a Scion of Draco in hand, I don't know if I've seen one. Eldrazi Temple into Malevolent Rumble. Make a spawn token. Mill 4. See a Temple, a Trinisphere, a Worldbreaker, and an Emrakul, the Promised End. What to take here? I mean, in some ways, if you can ramp into Emmy really quick. Yep, taking the Emrakul, the Promised End. Four types in the bin. Passing the turn. There's the Scion of Draco that was perfectly predicted. Ugin's Lab. Deciding what to put under it. He did just take an Emrakul. Looks like putting a Devourer Destiny underneath must have drew that. Ooh, there's 6 mana. There's a Sowing Mycospawn. Getting kicked. Taking out the Misty Rainforest. Finding an Eldrazi Temple. Setting up for 7 mana on turn 4 here. And most importantly, just keeping the resources limited for this domain list. Making it harder to hit one of the Cascaders. Well, there's a Misty Rainforest. There's a second Scion. And that other Scion getting in. That'll bring us to 16 to 24. There is a World Breaker. Right on cue. That'll exile the Leyline of the Guild Pact. Wooded Foothills for turn and passing. Misty getting cracked. Going to 23. Finding the Triome equivalent. Xander's Lounge to be precise. That'll come in tapped. Taking 2 off the Hallowed Fountain. And needs to pay 2 for that Leyline binding there. But that will take the World Breaker and getting in for 8. Bringing us to 8 to 21. No lifelink this time. End step, going to 7. That Surveil land should be tapped. This one definitely is. Finding the commercial district. Finding out what will be surveilled here shortly. Definitely an interesting position. Plenty of mana to work with. Yep, remember the surveil. There we go. Keeping it on top, it looks like. Untapping. Into a Sire of 7 Deaths. Now it's just a matter, is there another Leyline binding? Is there another Fire Ice? Crossing the fingers there. There's a Temple Garden coming in untapped and passing the turn. Well, you don't have to worry about instant speed cascading. But I guess if you're bringing in subtlety out of the board, that would be the one thing you have to think about. Currently 8 mana available here. And we know Emrakul is in hand. There's a Misty Rainforest that's going to go fetching. Just taking the 1. Finding a forest. And there is 9 mana. Into an Emrakul the Promised End. Cast trigger. There's a subtlety. And I'll probably put the Emrakul back on top of the deck. However, this is still a strong spot to be in. To kill this Sire would have to block with all 3 creatures. Actually, wouldn't even kill Sire, thanks to that first strike. And trample. Attacking in. No blocks declared. That'll bring us to 13 to 12. Cast trigger will resolve. Taking the Domain Rhinos player's turn, there is a Crashing Footfalls and a Subtlety. Well, Subtleties, of course, have hexproof thanks to the Scion of Dracos. Probably the only play here is to just cast the Subtlety. And then attack in with one of the creatures, let Sire block it, gain 7 life. Subtlety being cast. Scion getting in. Sire 7 deaths blocking. Gaining 7 life. Emrakul still on top for the Eldrazi Ramp player. The Scion is dead. Passing the turn. And the Domain Rhinos player is going to scoop it up here. Game 2 going to Eldrazi Ramp. Emrakul the Promised End doing work. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Be a friend, tell a friend. We appreciate all of you watching. And all new people enjoying our content, welcome. Seen an uptick recently now that Modern's fun again. Not that Modern was ever not fun. I think to a certain extent, you have some people that just grind the crap out of MTGO. See the same decks every week at their weeklies. And yeah, you can get tired of certain cards, but you keep coming back to play this format. Because really this format just gives, you know, most players something that other formats don't. It's one of the reasons why Modern in general endures no matter what Wizards of the Coast does to it in adding supplementary sets. Things that haven't been proven through Standard. People love this format. People get into this game because of this format. You can do fun, powerful things. Plus, there's just a certain amount of camaraderie in this community. You just don't necessarily find that anywhere else. Standard, you know, Standard is really a grinder's format. In Modern, you just have a lot of people that, yeah, there are the grinders, but it is very much about playing the wacky stuff. Falling in love with an archetype. Trying to make it work. I mean, looks like we're getting into game 3 quickly here. Rhinos on 6. Devourer of Destiny being revealed. There's a Flooded Strand in passing. There's Devourer of Destiny. Trigger resolving. Looks like, wow, exiling an Eldrazi Temple. There's a Misty Rainforest in passing. Flooded Strand. being cracked here. Finding the blue-red surveil land, bringing our total here to 20 to 19. Surveilling. Putting the Force of Negation in the bin. Misty Rainforest and pass. Misty Rainforest being cracked here for the Eldrazi Ramp player. Finding the commercial district. Surveil incoming. There it is. Putting the talisman in the bin. There's a Nugan's Labyrinth. Devour Destiny going underneath it. Turn 2 Trinisphere. Misty Rainforest getting cracked. There's a Lush Portico. Surveil incoming from that as well. Keeping it on top and drawing it for turn. Currently at 19 to 18. Sacred Foundry coming in untapped. And passing the turn. Misty Rainforest and pass. End step. Leyline Binding. Taking out the Trinisphere. There's an Ardent Plea. That'll cascade into a Crashing Footfalls. There it is. 2/4/4 Rhinos incoming. Of course, both have trample. Misty Rainforest being cracked here. Looks like finding a tapped stomping ground. Currently 18 to 16. Drawing for turn. There's a forest. And passing. Suspending a crashing footfalls. Attacking in for 8. Bringing us to 10 to 16. There's an Eldrazi Temple. Into a World Breaker. Exiling the Leyline Binding. Trinisphere back on the battlefield. Ooh, there's an Obsidian Charmaw. Going after the Ugin's Labyrinth. That puts the ramp player in a little bit of a pickle. What is the follow-up play here? Ooh, Kessig Wolfron and pass. Not exactly what you're looking for. You would probably want a Sowing Mycospawn to back that up. And of course, they always have a second Obsidian Charmaw. Funny moment there, pretending he was going for the Kessig Wolfron. In fact, going for the Eldrazi Temple. Attacking in. World Breaker killing one of the Charmaws. Taking 8. That'll bring us to 2 to 16. Not the land you want to see. Sometimes in this format, just slamming 4/4s will do the job. And looks like scooping it up there. That'll be game, set, match going to Domain Rhinos. On the back of 2 Obsidian Charmaws. Thank you all so much for watching us here at MTG Scoundrels. If you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. And we will see you all next week.